Slow invasion. Clockton-on-Sea by-election night. Clockton-on-Sea Leisure Centre smelled faintly of chlorine, floor polish, and the kind of coffee that had been sitting in a metal urn since dawn. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead, plastic chairs scraped. A BBC local reporter rehearsed her intro under her breath, trying to sound awake. Invader Beanhead stood on the stage with the other candidates, hands clasped neatly in front of him. His helmet, tall, cylindrical, gleaming under the strip lights, gave him the silhouette of a novelty knight or a ceremonial mascot. People assumed it was part of the joke. They always had. He was a familiar figure in modern British elections. He had stood in by-elections from Cornwall to Cumbria, from the Midlands to the Hebrides. Always the helmet, always the jokes, always the polite wave, always the same result. But Clockton-on-Sea was different. The incumbent MP stood 2 places to his right. Immaculate suit, neutral expression, eyes scanning for cameras. He had barely visited Clockton-on-Sea in 5 years, and Parliament even less. He treated the seat as a personal brand asset, a platform for his media ventures, his lifestyle products, his carefully curated persona. He was not silly, he was not a clown, he was a grifter with discipline, and the town was tired of him. Beanhead had become the unexpected favourite, not because of the helmet, not because of the jokes, but because he showed up. He had raised money for the pier repairs when the council couldn't. He had organised litter picks. He had helped the church digitise its archives. He had listened. His manifesto, pinned to notice boards across the town, mixed whimsy with sincerity. Synchronise all clocks in Clockton. GMT should shift to Clockton meantime, set by the church bell. Mandatory hat days. Replace the pier with a bigger pier. A community repair fund. A coastal erosion mitigation plan. A mental health support hub. Transparent expenses. Apprenticeship schemes. People laughed at the jokes. People nodded at the real ones. People rooted for him. The hall was packed. The returning officer was shuffling papers at the lectern. The BBC reporter raised her microphone. Beanhead stood very still. He had learned that stillness made humans comfortable. And then, as the returning officer stepped forward, his thoughts slipped inward. Inside the helmet, inside the elongated skull and the tall eyes and the long expressive mouth, he let centuries unspool. The original plan, to infiltrate Europe's monarchies, to replace kings and queens, to seize the levers of civilization as it then existed, that had been the strategy. Monarchies were power, monarchies were continuity, monarchies were the spine of the world. But the plague struck within weeks of landing. His entire invasion cohort died. He alone survived. The disguise harness corroded in Earth's humidity, leaving him stranded in his own skin. He spent 4 decades in a travelling freak show caravan, billed as the amazing Beanhead Man. He learned English from carnies, tea from caravan ladies, Sunday roast, better even than mother's garblised crunions, from a pub landlord who took pity on him. Centuries passed, monarchies waned, power shifted, the world changed. He discovered Screaming Lord Such and the official monster raving loony party. He saw Lord Buckethead and Count Binface. He recognised them instantly, not as tactical geniuses, but as cover, a cultural niche, a safe category, a way for someone who looked like him to stand in public without causing an alarm. He concluded that this was the new path to influence. He began standing in elections across the country, not for centuries, only since the era of joke candidates began, but had been preparing for far longer. He was still on duty, still the last soldier of a dead army, still waiting for the next wave 3 centuries away, still trying to secure a foothold before they arrived. Clockton-on-Sea, tired, kind, quietly desperate, had become his best chance in a millennium. He thought, if I win, the invasion claims its first victory. If I lose, I have time. I always have time. The returning officer cleared her throat. The hall fell silent. She lifted the paper. Beanhead straightened. His helmet caught the light. The incumbent's jaw tightened. The crowd leaned forward. The BBC reporter raised her microphone. The officer began. The votes for the Clockton-on-Sea by-election are as follows. Outside, a seagull stole an unimpressed tourist's chips.